Okay. Greetings, fellow YouTubers, fans, whatever. Okay. What I'm doing here is attempting to document in probably small snippets, maybe every day, almost every time I work on this project, or every time. I'll try to do a little video, maybe at the beginning or whatever, just kind of documenting, at least a little bit, documenting the process of making the new Resonance album, Resonance 2, or Second Resonance. Haven't quite decided on the title. So this album will be along the same lines. You know, my goal is basically to do the same thing I did with Resonance 1, except perhaps for Ramallah. That was kind of an oddball track. My goal is just to have an upbeat instrumental guitar and synth rock type pop album, whatever. Totally along the same lines as Resonance, just trying to keep that particular project consistent. I do have other stuff I'm involved in now. In fact, I got taken in or hired or whatever to this band that's starting called The Unheard, and we've been writing songs and rehearsing non-stop for the last month or so, month plus. And at first I thought that was going to put my personal side project, my instrumental project, on hold indefinitely or whatever. But it really seems to be turning out that the material for the band, for Unheard, is more along the lines of metal and things, a darker, heavier sound. And so there's a real place for, there's a real outlet for my upbeat, catchy, kind of poppy, punchy riffs or whatever. And so that it seems like it'll work out great. You know, maybe one day a week or so I'll sit down like this and work a little bit on Resonance material, and probably in a year or so I'll have an album. And my plan at this point is to be a little bit unconventional about how I do it. I mean, number one, I'm planning on doing this documentary thing, and number two, I'm planning on, as I complete each song, posting it on YouTube. I mean, the way it seems like I work typically is I will get each song to a point where all the tracks are recorded, everything is pretty much finalized, I've got a decent mix, and then it gets put on the shelf until I've got a whole album's worth of tracks like that, and then I sit down with a whole collection of them and try to get them to play well together and do basically the mastering process, and make an album out of them. So what I'm thinking is, at this point, when I get the songs to the point where they're basically finished, they've got a decent mix, and I'm ready to put them on the shelf until the album is ready to be put together, I'll take those, each individual song, put it up as a YouTube video, so people can, you know, as I'm going along, can have not only a taste of what's going to be on the new album, they'll get the new album basically in chunks, at least on YouTube, you know. And so then if you want it in some nice version, you can easily put on your iPod or whatever. You can, once the CD comes out, you can buy that if you want, or pick up the actual CD or whatever. But I don't know, I think that'll be a pretty good use of YouTube and what it offers people. So what we're doing today is I'm working on Sunday Glory, that's a working title for this riff, or a couple riffs I came up with back in 2005, and I was actually going to put it on the first Resonance album, but I got to the point where I had enough tracks for an album and I was ready to just do the album, so before I got to the song. So now, and it's got a nice, catchy opening riff that I think would be great for the opening of the CD. And this is all subject to change. Maybe it won't be the first track, but at least now I'm thinking of it being the opening track on the CD. It starts out like this. You know, it's got a nice, and so what I'm doing today is yeah, we can talk a little bit about equipment. I mean, what the heck? So, for my amp, I'm using this good old Yamaha THR5 that I got about a year ago. It's great for just practicing, laying down tracks, whatever. And it's got a nice direct sound, so, but instead of using those fancy USB drivers and everything, I got a 1/4-inch cable plugged into the headphone jack. That's running into my mixer and into my audio interface, into the PC I'm using here. And I'm using Propellerhead Record because that's one of the few cross-platform apps I've got that is up to the task. And plus I'm getting very familiar with it because we're using it for the band, so I figured it'd be very efficient to just use that. And my thinking at this point is to have one file. If Propellerhead Record, this is like the original version 1, if it can handle that, I'm planning on just doing all the songs in this one file and keeping everything there, so it's when it gets to the mastering stage, everything's really easy. I've got the same virtual instruments, the same drum kit, just everything is all together. So that's my goal at this point. We'll see how it works. So I'm starting out. This will be the first song I put in this file, and I'm basically just practicing with the drum beat. I put together a 8-bar drum loop with a little intro, and that's what I'm working with at this point. I'll turn it up a little bit. So let's see. And I'm practicing really slow just to kind of work through it and get the feel of everything, how it all works out. And normally I play standing up, but because of the way the camera's set up, you can't see me standing up. So just for now, just kind of demonstrate things. This is what this is. You get the idea. Yeah, pardon the kid screaming in the background, but this is very real. If you want to see what it was like when I recorded it, where I recorded it, this is what I have to put up with. And as far as guitar, don't want to mess up my jack. I'm using this Agile, pardon the cotton swab, but the strings up there really vibrate. Had to dampen them down a little bit. This is an Agile Scepter Pro or Elite 830, something like that. 30-inch scale, 8-string guitar. It's what I'm using for the band. And I just, I'm really trying to get used to it, and I want it to become, I want to become my hands and everything become as familiar with this instrument as they are with the normal 6-string. Plus, it just seems like it'll lend itself to this kind of thing better. My other guitar has a floating tremolo system, and those are always a pain in the neck to keep tuning all the time and stuff. And so, at least at this point, I'm planning on this being the main guitar, if not the only guitar, for the Resonance 2 album as well as my other project. So, yeah. And I'm, what else? Using a PC I picked up for $35 as my weapon of choice for recording at this point, simply because my Mac I've got that I'm recording this video with is kind of unstable and it crashes every once in a while, and it's just, I want something that's going to be up and running all the time when I want it to be. And so far this PC has been doing great. It's about 8 years old. It's got 2 gigs RAM, Pentium 4, 3.4 gigahertz. Yeah. So I guess that's it at this point. I don't want these videos to be like 3 hours long or anything. And that's what I'm doing. That's the plan. And I will try to keep you folks posted as to how things are progressing step by step. So thanks for listening. Share and enjoy.